At 4ZZZ, we acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we broadcast. We pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging of the Turrbal and Jagera people. We acknowledge that their sovereignty over this land was never ceded.
And we stand in solidarity with them.
You're listening to Tranzmission on 4ZZZ, amplifying the trans and gender non-conforming voices of Brisbane and beyond.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 9:12 on your Tuesday morning. My name is Liz Witt. My pronouns are they, them. It's Transmission country, but I'm not alone because I have in the studio with me the wonderful, the delightful, the...
You're just going to get out the thesaurus now, aren't you?
Maybe.
Hello, my darlings. This is Seán. My pronouns are heavily caffeinated, she, her.
A very jittery they, them over here.
We both have coffee sitting on the shelf outside, and whilst mine is slowly sweating into the carpet.
I always love to give the listeners just a little peek behind the curtain of what, the community radio process is, and what it isn't is drinks in the studio, guys. It's just not on.
My darlings, this place is full of signs saying that if you bring food and beverages into the studio, they will fire you into the heart of the sun.
Yeah.
Like, they will not be pleased.
When the revolution comes,
yeah.
People who bring food and drink into the studio will be fifth or sixth against the wall.
Yeah, not first. I mean, there's plenty of others that we need to deal with.
Real estate agents.
Oh, real estate agents. Oh.
No, I'm in the process of maybe moving from one domicile to another. And, hey, that sucks.
It is hard out there. Actually, that's a lovely thing to tell everyone. Everyone, we all know it is hard out there. Don't worry. I have no advice to give you about how it's going to be easier other than platitudes of saying we know how hard it is out there.
It is hard out there. Okay. We have to kind of focus and centre.
Oh, God, yeah. We should
trans and gender diverse stories.
Stop talking about real estate agents.
And it's been a weird week. I believe in the last 24 hours, the New South Wales Police have been asked to not participate in the Mardi Gras march. Yeah,
it's quite a hell of a turn of events. We were chatting about the strange circumstance that we're in, where people who purport to be part of a community don't have the wherewithal to actually make the choice themselves about what's appropriate, and they need to be instructed to not attend. It would have been really nice had the New South Wales Police made the choice to say, actually, yes, it's not appropriate, but instead someone else had to do that labour for them. And good. Well, good. If they've been told not to and they said that they won't, that's great.
Well, yeah, now they have to be held to their own action. Like, they have to be held to their words. So Let's see how that goes. Yeah.
Still would have been nice if they had a thought about doing that first.
Right?
Would have been lovely.
Just taking the burden off the community there.
Yeah. A community that's busy grieving, for example. Anyway, this is some really heavy, dark stuff we just dived into.
Hey, sometimes life do be like that.
It really is.
It has always been a long-standing issue, right? Cops at Pride.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to think of any queer people that I know who have positive feelings towards police at Pride. It's a really unusual circumstance, and minimising language like the words, problematic relationship really doesn't quite do justice to the complexity of the situation. And when I say complexity, I mean a whole lot of queer people really don't like the idea of police at Pride.
Right, and a problematic relationship seems like it's a mutual kind of...
Yeah. It's not really mutual.
Everybody's got a little bit at fault here. Well, no, one community has been brutalised by the other. You know what has also struck me as odd is this is all happening while at the same time in the background the police are apologising in a loose sense for historical hate crimes.
Yeah. It was one of those sorts of apologies like, well, I'm sorry that you were upset about it kind of apologies. Yeah.
Well, it's in the past.
It's in the past. Can't we just move forward from it?
Well, probably not.
Fundamental change first.
Fundamental change first.
Then we'll move on. So we were covered. Okay, so this is the first time Liz and I have been on air together, and so we're a little bit like feeling out each other's banters and vibes.
Like dogs sniffing. Of course, you call it banter, but that's the heaviest stuff I've heard in weeks.
Good call.
Because mine's a little more pee pee poo poo, Seán, darling.
Nice. So we were chatting on the Discord about like, what do we want to talk about today, and we were talking about representation in the media of trans folk, and obviously being an artist who makes work about being trans, that this was something that we should probably talk about while I'm here.
Because I come from an arts background.
Yes.
I love / hate when people say making work.
I know, right?
What do you mean? It was a thing I always used to come across when I was doing art card, is I would have these beautiful, wonderful artists in, and I would be like, all right, so tell the listener what it is that you make. And they would be like, oh, well, it's an activation of, the different modalities of care in the home. It's like, you make sculptures.
Yeah.
Just say you make sculptures, please. You have to explain it like you're talking to a 5-year-old, please.
Yeah. There's been a real shift in the way that art is seen in the world. It's certainly in Australia. The funding models that exist, both federally, state, and council level, shifts all art into a very westernized mode of thinking.
Yeah.
Things are works of art in the same sort of language that you would use for gallery spaces and institutions and museums.
And then we are all kind of contorting ourselves into these shapes so that we have... It's like...
So it is strange, the idea that there being works out there that are transgressive and against those forms still have to use that language in order to secure funding, secure space, secure support from the people who gatekeep the ability to make art. So yeah.
And the work that you do is in theatre, right?
Yeah. I'm going to use language to specifically annoy you. I'm a theatre maker. You should see everybody. You should see Liz's face right now. Oh God, they look like they're going to. Yes, so I'm a writer and performer. Actually, funnily enough, last night was the State Theatre Awards. The Matilda Awards were on last night.
Yeah.
So we were very fortunate to be nominated for a couple of categories.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it was really lovely to be there. So many wonderful artists being recognised. Artists from all across Queensland. There was a really significant amount of representation from accessible art made by people with disabilities. The Matilda Committee has a really significant commitment to ensuring that those segments of the community are represented. It's really wonderful to see. It was a delight to be nominated and attend. It was quite wonderful.
What were your noms?
Myself and my theatre husband Cameron Hurry, who co-wrote and performed in the play Unconditional with me last year. We were both nominated each individually for our performances, which was really nice. Cameron is a veteran of theatre in this town. I am an absolute newcomer, and to be placed in the top category with him was like, for performance, was really kind of weird.
A little dizzying, I imagine.
I was expecting to be in a little cheeky emerging artist nomination. That'd be nice, but it was quite an honour to be placed up there with the big kids, as it were.
That's wonderful.
And we were both nominated for Best New Australian Work, which was very gratifying.
Yeah, that's big.
Get that nomination. Yeah, really lovely, and all the artists all the other nominees were magnificent and quite amazing company to be in, as it were. So yeah, it was really lovely and nice to see a work that was about transness and queerness represented at a state level. I didn't know, so I got seats in a very specific spot, and I didn't know. And I sit down, and who's sitting next to me but the artistic director of Powerhouse? Okay, cool. Sitting next to me, and I'm like, oh crap, I have to behave now.
Yeah, you can't just mouth off.
And then I look over beside her, and there is Councillor Vicky Howard. And I'm like, I really have to behave now. But they were lovely and delightful and very kind and quite congratulatory of us being nominated, which is really lovely to see. There is a lot of top level support happening in these, in organisations like the Powerhouse and Brisbane Festival and so we things are changing and shifting, and it's nice to be represented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful. And you work behind the stage and on the stage.
Yeah. I mean, previously I've spoken to Ez on air about the difficulties of growing up and being queer, but not being publicly trans, because I transitioned quite late in life. And
Quite late?
Quite late. Well, later than most, I would like to think. I did have 40 years of living as a man before I started this
I reckon it's not late in life until you've got a seniors card, until you can get on the bus for cheaper.
I will be put on notice. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I like to say I had 40 years living as a man. I'm going to have 40 years living as a woman now.
Oh, I love that.
That's nice.
I love that. The halfway point.
Yeah, it's only the halfway point.
Yeah, that's pretty much when you would be able to dual class in D&D as well.
Yes. Yes, that's right. We should, yes. That is absolutely what multi-classing is like. Yeah. It's like being trans. all my D&D girlies out there, yes, it is just being trans.
You get a more comprehensive and expansive experience of your own skill set and the way that you can interact with others. I'm dying on this hill.
Actually, that's not a bad analogy. I'm going to have to think about that now. The process of sort of growing up in the 80s and 90s and the representation of trans people in media.
Oh, horrid.
An absolute wasteland of representation. And as I like to tell people, the only trans people I ever saw in media when I was growing up were serial killers and victims of serial killers.
Yeah.
Or
punchlines in sitcoms. But I like going through old media. I love going through old media, especially B media. And it's wild to me how many old sitcoms you go in and you just continually get jump scared by
boom, man in a dress.
Yeah, terrible jokes just littered through.
Yeah, I remember I sat down with some friends and my partner, and we watched the old Robert De Niro film Cape Fear, because it's just a big campy mess.
Yeah.
And love it. And even that has a moment of Robert De Niro dressed as a woman murdering someone. But afterwards we're like, you know what we should do? We should watch the Simpsons episode that parodies it. Yeah, this will be great. This will be funny, because we just watched this big, ridiculous film. And then we sit down and we watch it, and bam, Grandpa Simpson, transphobe joke right at the end of the episode. And we're like, oh my God.
You can't get away from it.
Oh my God, how did this happen? How did we forget that this was in this? So the idea of making work that shows what trans people's lives are actually like, or at least attempting to show a version of transness that isn't strange and horrifying, but actually kind of just normal, is something that's really important to me. And if it means that one young person sees it and goes, oh yeah, that life is not something to be afraid of, maybe I'm able to explore who I am, well then it's worth it.
And to be much more pithy about it, trans jokes written by trans people there's a 700%
oh yes
increase in how funny they are.
Oh yeah, I absolutely love I love making jokes about this experience.
Yeah.
Dear listeners, we were talking off air about man sneezing, and how one of the difficulties of transitioning later in life is that I have to work really hard to not scream the house down when I sneeze, and so doing this tiny little sparrow sneeze feels like my head is going to explode.
Dainty. It has to be dainty.
It's really hard. It's really hard to sneeze small and not give myself dysphoria by something that my body just does.
If you ever hear me belch, that's my non-binary affirmation.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
She's resonant.
Well, dear listeners, later on, maybe we'll just do a whole little segment of a couple of minutes of belching and sneezing and see how
can
you
do.
go.
Yeah, on cue.
It's the affirmation hour of bodily noises.
All right.
Amplifying the voices of the trans and gender non-conforming community of Meanjin, Brisbane and beyond.
Transmission on 4ZZZ brings you the latest in trans community news, music and events.
Every Tuesday from 9am till 10am.
Join our team of hosts for an hour of celebrating the unique perspectives of the trans community.
Transmission, Tuesday mornings from 9am till 10am on 4ZZZ.
You are listening to Transmission on 4ZZZ. My name is Liz Witt. God, we had a chat.
We were a pair of chatty Cathys. We were just... Oh, sorry, hello. This is Seán. My pronouns are not at all prepared for what the hell I was doing because I was blowing my nose, she, her. We were just talking about our undiagnosed ADHD.
Ayo, my name is Liz Witt. My pronouns are they, them, and that should be enough to get me a diagnosis all its own.
So yeah, big shout out there to any listeners who are wondering why all their school report cards said... What was it, Liz?
Very clever, but needs to take more care with their work and stop being a distraction to their peers.
So yeah, I was just telling Liz that I dug out all my old school report cards because I'm genuinely considering pursuing the diagnosis process. And oh yeah, it's Not at all surprising to see someone write, if you hadn't read the cast role, you wouldn't know Seán was there.
Wow!
Hiding in plain sight.
Damn.
Yeah. It's, you don't realise how ruthless a Year 5 teacher can be.
I get it. If I was a Year 5 teacher, I would last 5 years. That's peak. Sorry, children. That's peak annoying kid. I love them.
Yeah.
But like 10 is peak. Like has opinions, but also
Can't
peak
back him up.
worst opinions.
Peak a mouth writing checks that the body can't catch.
That the prefrontal cortex does not have the capacity to back up.
Absolutely. So that's a thing in my life at the moment. Although we're kind of again chaotically all over what we talked about our topic would be, but like screw it. We don't have to stay on topic. Who cares?
Yeah, I did want to keep picking your brain about theatre stuff though.
Yeah, no,
because
please,
I find it so fascinating. And okay, I'm going to come back around, I promise.
Can you refer to it as theatre making this entire time? And like, I just want to see you grit your teeth as you like.
As we talk about your work, your practice,
You have to refer to it as the work. Capital T,
right.
capital W.
Capital T, capital W, the work, like capital H him.
Yes, that's right.
and then it would be your practice.
Yes. And occasionally I'll throw in the word praxis.
Oh God.
Yeah, no, let's not.
The one that always gets me is when people decide they have to call it a modality. Babe, it's a mode.
Yeah.
You're talking it's a mode.
Yeah, no, I'm not down with that.
I love that band, Depeche Modality.
They had great haircuts.
Okay, so I really like watching anime, and I like Japanese dramas and Korean dramas.
Let's just put it out there. You're a weeb.
To the surprise of no one, I am a massive weeb.
Shout out to all the weebs out there. We love you.
Ooh.
Ooh, indeed.
I've been watching a couple of live-action J-dramas recently, and something that has always struck me is we don't realise how many rehearsed gestures, phrases, and actions we have that are meant to be like signals that we are feeling a certain thing that none of us acknowledge are things that we do. Like, imagine pinching your brow.
Yes.
That's something that we have learned to do, and people who have grown up in very different places under very different circumstances do not do. Like, there are so many like little gestures like that. The one not like hunching over when you feel tired or sad, or not like, a deep exhale. Those are very like primal, but there's so many gestures that we do that are learned because we watched the adults do it when we were children.
Yeah, there's a sort of a cultural body language that we all inherit.
Right? And so you, as somebody who's going on stage, how do you feel like you can be authentically trans or authentically feminine while still kind of navigating all of the ways in which we're actually just doing a little tap dance for God?
Oh, damn, that's such a good question. I've never even thought of it. You are so pleased that you've absolutely bamboozled me. It is interesting, actually. The work that we made last year, Unconditional, is about someone who is very much at the beginning of their transition. And so the placing of the body in that space and how that all worked was very much simplified, and a lot of the things that I do day to day to feminize how my body moves, I didn't engage in.
Yeah, this is exactly
it was
what
an
I was
act
hoping.
of not doing the thing that I usually do. Just to think about the 1,000 tiny levers that a trans person nudges in order to shift how they're viewed. There's no one big lever that you get to pull and like, bam, now you are perceived as the opposite gender.
Yeah.
Or perceived as your true gender. Would that there was. Instead, it's 1,000 tiny little things that you do. Walking around the shopping centre, and I'm constantly doing things like
the set of your shoulders,
the way that you
are going to relax your hands. Yeah.
Turning my wrists outwards so that the beds of my elbows point forward when I walk. And that actually reads as a much more feminine gait. I'm working on the sway of my hips, being, choosing to wear heels more often because it helps with that rather than wearing flats, which obviously are infinitely more comfortable. Those little things that you do every day, the 1,000 tiny levers that you nudge in order to make you feel more assured in your gender.
Yeah.
In the process of theatre, sometimes it's about just not doing those things and forcing one's body back into a modality. Forcing my body back into shapes that I've been trying to move away from. It's the same with voice as well. I've begun the process of doing voice training with a speech therapist. I'd been doing some stuff independently myself. A big heat from fire from heat. Shout out to all my trans girlies out there. The occasionally moments when I am in distress and frustrated, and that falling away and my voice falling back down into the deepest register that it can is a distressing and frustrating thing. So all of that stuff is there. The body can still move the way it used to move. The voice can still sound the way it used to sound.
It doesn't feel like it's peeling back, though. It almost feels like you're Jenga towering it up. Like
that's nice.
You've come up learning a set of behaviours, and then you've gone through this beautiful conscious unlearning and relearning of a new set of behaviours, and then for the stage you are then you're taking them back again, but you're doing them in a conscious way. Like you are consciously now performing the things that used to be your initial programming. Yeah,
there's a weird sort of like, because it's not the same as moving backwards. It's a trans woman pretending to be a version of a man. It's not a trans woman stopping being a trans woman.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's really nice. Thank you for that.
What a wicked web we weave.
Oh God, I'm going to be writing about this now. I'm going to go home and be like, oh, these are really great ideas. I do a little bit of sort of editorial writing for my own vilification. Edification. Apologies. I didn't mean to use the wrong word there at all. If anyone's interested, you can read my terrible opinions at Abomination About Town on Substack. And
she's a Substack girl.
I know, right? There's been a lot of talk about like getting out of Substack because they are garbage.
Everyone is garbage. Everyone is garbage.
Yeah. Like, if I expected purity from the social media platforms, well, I sure as hell wouldn't be on Facebook and Instagram.
Exactly.
Let's not talk about X/Twitter, although I feel weird saying about Twitter because I feel like I'm dead naming it.
No, okay, let's unpack this. Because
I'm back. Go.
No, I have not met a single trans person who wants to call it X. Because screw you, Elon. You're going to dead name your own kid and you want us to call your stupid website X?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, there is this very fundamental kind of knee-jerk, like, oh, well, it's called X now. I should probably just call it X.
And also, I do get when people say to me, oh, it's not, you shouldn't, like, they changed the name, it's called X, you don't want to be, you'd be all up in arms if someone was, dead naming you.
But you are a person.
Exactly. And here is the interesting thing. The confusion between corporations and people. Twitter/X is not a person.
No.
It will never be a person. It will never have those same fundamental rights that I have. I can call it whatever. The language warning, everyone, please get your swear jars out. I don't give a fuck what they say their name should or shouldn't be. I will refer to it as whatever I want it to be because it is not a person. It doesn't have an inalienable right in the way that you do and that I do.
Right, and that's why I say that knee-jerk reaction to start calling it X, it really is knee-jerk because, you start to bring yourself into the mindset of, like, respecting people's name changes. But no, clock the pronoun. We're calling it an it because it's an it. It's a website.
Yeah, it's a website. It is not a being, and it is not as valuable. I would, for every, my God, I would blow up the entire internet if it meant saving the life of one flesh and blood person. I don't care.
Yeah.
No, it is not more important than a real living, breathing person and their experiences.
There's actually something bigger there that I've been thinking about for the last couple of months, years. We have so fundamentally shifted the way that our brains are shaped and the way that we talk about the world, in that the internet is some kind of life-giving force that we simply cannot live without. Hey, buddy.
I hate to break the news to you.
We've had it for, 40?
Not even.
Not even
as we know it.
Like a generous 40 out of the how many millennia of human existence?
Generous 40. And that 40, it's only in the last, I would say, decade at most that the internet as it exists now has existed in the way that it kind of currently does.
Yeah.
It is a blink of the eye, and it is so fundamental the way people live their lives and experience the world. And it's not the same.
No.
It's not the same. It's not as valuable as a person.
Polly Cook texted in.
Yeah?
Why are you quoting my teachers so much? Hey, Polly. We've got news for you.
Sorry, Polly. Might want to think about that diagnosis.
Check it out.
My name is Georgie Stone, and you're listening to Tranzmission on 4ZZZ.
You are listening to 4ZZZ. It is...
My name is Seán, and I didn't
Tranzmission.
realise you were going to point at me. What are you doing?
It's Tranzmission!
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, those both and those neither, it is Tranzmission on 4ZZZ. Searching for the mission statement on the wall that says connecting and amplifying the voices of our local community. Thank you. My God, completely unprepared.
Oh, no, hang on. Ready? 0420 626 733 325 1555 and connecting and amplifying the voices of our local community.
That was Liz with their hands over their eyes, reading all the stuff off the wall without looking. That's very good.
Yep.
I haven't figured that out yet.
I have drunk the Kool-Aid, my love.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Yes. So I'm for those just tuning in, my name is Seán, and my pronouns are I finished my coffee and I wish I had more. She, her.
My pronouns are they, them, and I'm Liz Witt, and I got the horse before the cart once again. That dang horse, you're just too quick for me.
Just too quick.
This is why he needs to be pulling the cart, not me. Keeps getting out in front of it. No, wait, that's how he's meant to be, behind it.
That's it. Well, I mean, speaking of pulling the cart, Liz is here operating all the buttons, which still bamboozle me. I've had a brief rundown, and so you are definitely the one pulling the cart here.
Oh, good. Yeah. I am a beast of burden. That is to say, I'm a beast and I'm a burden.
Oh, God, can I steal that? That's
absolutely.
So good.
You're welcome. We did play a bunch of songs. I forget how few songs you can actually fit into a radio show when you're talking a bunch.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope that the experience for the audience is, the fun fireside banter, or the fun...
we got a fire now.
We do, yeah. I mean, it's Queensland, so like you said, it's the fun 2 a.m. balcony conversations.
That's it.
Energy that we're trying to go for
here. That glass table with the hole for the umbrella in the middle of it that you never actually has an umbrella in.
Glass table, yeah.
6 chairs.
Yeah, everyone.
2 of them work.
Mozzie coils. Yeah, it's a vibe. Yeah. I know that vibe. I've lived in that share house.
Everyone's lived in that share house.
Yeah.
That's the share house of our soul. You were talking about your Irish cultural legacy before. I would say that the Brisbane cultural legacy is that exact outdoor patio furniture set.
It really is, actually. It really is. It is the equivalent here for us. In such a new nation in that regard.
Yeah.
That has been planted in on top of the tens of thousands of years of other nations' history. This is what we got. We got that very specific piece of glass top table patio furniture,
and that's it.
And Mozzie coils. That's the vibe.
Yep.
That's fine.
Hey, look. Yeah. Second best time to plant an oak tree.
Yes, it is. Yes.
For reference, the best time is 25 years ago.
It really is. But, you might as well get on with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There we go. That's my piece of wisdom for the week.
That's yeah.
Sass has texted in saying that, my dear burdensome beastie, may I be thee BB.
Oh.
I shall grant thee this BB request on this Tuesday.
I ordain you BB. Tuesday's BB.
I think the knighting process for that physically has to be you put on some pink lip gloss and then you go mwah,
oh yeah, so
you don't touch, but you just mwah,
air kiss to each side of face.
Yeah,
that's me doing it to the microphone. I wonder if people are listening in stereo and they're able to tell.
No, well, they just got a lot of kisses, and that is one of the many reasons why you should consider subscribing to 4ZZZ.
Yes, my darlings, please subscribe for your pets as well,
as low as $20 to subscribe a pet.
And volunteer. Last time I was on, I did a bit of a shout out because the wonderful Ez was sitting across from me, and I could see the weariness on his face. And we talked about the importance of volunteerism for the radio station. This place runs on volunteers. And yes, there are some dedicated staff members and that very much keep the wheels on. If they didn't have their volunteers, this place would fall apart. So please consider volunteering, consider coming in and learning how to operate the buttons like I'm doing a terrible job of right now.
I think to me, I always try and sell it as you don't understand what you're going to get out of it yet. Like, you will be helping us phenomenally, but I think I was a much more profoundly lonely and disconnected person before I came in.
Oh.
And I think we are going through a loneliness epidemic. I don't have to think it. The science is backing it up. So if you feel a bit adrift, a bit out of sorts, a bit out of touch, go to our website, 4zzz.org.au, get involved, volunteer, show up, touch some stuff.
Yep, I guarantee you are going to find a weird and strange and wonderful community of oddballs and misfits. They are delightful here. They are magnificent. So please, sign up, get involved.
And another member of the Transmission crew has texted in.
Oh, yes.
Charlie says, cops are out. They're officially uninvited from Mardi Gras.
Oh, Charlie.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, the wonderful Charlie. I haven't seen Charlie in a little while. They are magnificent, and I am so pleased that they're keeping us abreast of what's happening.
Exactly. Love you, Charles. Charles.
No, look, we'll check. We'll
What
check
about with
them
3
first.
Zs?
Oh, that's nice.
We can workshop it because we're theatre kids.
That's right, and that is our modality. And
Anyway, it's been wonderful having you here.
you're just gonna call the show early. We're just gonna broadcast 5 minutes of silence now because Seán used the word modality on air.
3 strikes, you're out.
But that's my praxis.
Oh, all right. Hey, I'm Liz. My pronouns are they, them.
My name is Seán. My pronouns are wanky university terms, she, her.
And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on this Tuesday morning. As usual, tune in for ZZZ 102.1 FM or online or through the community broadcasting app. Or this show is available as a podcast without the music, so you should go check it out if you feel like it, or if you've got a friend that you want to get to listen, but they're never available at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday specifically. How's that?
That's wonderful. Please do listen to the podcast as well.
Yeehaw.
It's a great way for the hosts to know that they're actually, speaking to the community and actually getting, getting feedback on what they're doing.
That's right. All right. See you next Tuesday.
Take care, my darlings.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much for listening to Transmission. See you next Tuesday, 9 to 10 a.m. on 4ZZZ.